Hello, you're now talking to students in Norway, and I'd like you to introduce yourself and please let them know who you are and what you do, a little bit about yourself.
Hi, so my name is Hunya. I am currently Miss Pakistan Classic Beauties International 2023. I'm competing in Classic Beauties International 2023 this year. I'm a content creator, author, chef, entrepreneur, uh, a poet, and a pageant competitor. And by trade, I'm a researcher, and I've been an administrative assistant. I'm currently studying community service development program in University of Toronto. I'm doing my second postgraduate. My first postgraduate I did in last year. That was in journalism. Other than that, I have a post-secondary diploma from Humber College, and I compete a lot. I compete in different things all the time. I've competed in entrepreneur competitions. I've competed in poetry competitions, and I've competed in pageant competitions. That's what I do.
That's a fantastic resume right there. So diverse, so many things that you do. I think it's fantastic. Tell us a little bit about where you're from and where you live.
So with me, I'm originally from Pakistan. I came to Canada when I was like 7 years old, so I'm pretty much brought up here. But while growing up here, I've been to a lot of different places. That's why my blog is called Hunya Travels, because I've been traveling to different cities, to different places, like since I was a kid. So I like to travel a lot. So that's what I do. And since I lived here, I've always been placed in English as second language, because for me it took me a little bit time to learn English, but I eventually got there, and my English is very fluent. And the only thing I'm not fluent in is French, because as a requirement in Canadian schools, you have to take French until grade 9. If you want to pursue becoming a French teacher or something, that is for you, that is optional for you, and that you could take in college university. But for me, I'm my French is so weak even now. So it's like, if I was to so my French is not that good, but English is emphasized more depending on where you are, except for Quebec, I think. So my English, like, speaking is great, but my writing is always grammar mistakes. So it still takes time. And even though with me in school I was in ESL for a few years, I was out of ESL, but when I went to college they placed me in ESL again. So most of my life I've been in ESL, although I'm brought up here.
And I think it's a perfect example of what I'm trying to teach the students. Here in Norway, English is taught as a foreign language. In Canada, it would be as a second language because if you come to live there, then it becomes a second language to the person who goes to live there. What are some things that you enjoy about Canada that you would like to share with my students here in Norway?
Well, the one thing I enjoy about Canada a lot is that the opportunities there are for you to learn and grow. So, and the benefits that you get here. So whether you're working, whether you're not, there's always a kind of support given from some place, some training. And even if you're not earning, there's always something for you. So it's like you're never left behind. So that's the thing about it. On top of that, there's like a billion different courses in each university in Canada that you can continue to study until you're like 60. Like, that's why I'm doing my second postgraduate, because with me, I um I love to study a lot. And after, like, I think almost after 8 years, I went back into studying again, and that's where I pursue in journalism. At the time, I had just started my. At the time, I was in midway of my on my YouTube. Now I'm getting towards being an expert of it now. But that's the thing. But what I enjoy is that the education system here is really beneficial. There's online classes you could do. There's in person. There's hybrid. So it's like almost every type of course is there, and there's like a billion things to choose from: cooking. There's also apprenticeship as well, but there's different things in social service factor. There's a common ones, of course, law and engineering. That is very common for South Asians. But with me, I'm not that kind of a person. I'm not a sciencey kind of person. So for me, I go into more social stuff or into speaking stuff, because that is who I am. So there's like a billion things you can study from.
What are your favorite cities in Canada?
My favorite city in Canada would be Mississauga because I'm brought up there. I spent most of my life growing up in Mississauga, so I know Mississauga really well. The other city would be Montreal because of its architecture and it's new and old, and the food options there. So since I was a kid, I would go to Montreal every summer, and I'd also go to New York too. So the fun fact is, since I'm brought up here, I can tell you the map of New York and Montreal without having to look at Google because that's how many times I went there. So I could tell you all of it. That way you don't need to go to Google. I'll be your Google map, and I can like tell you. So it's like I remember the routes really well because my navigation sense is really good. So they have tons of different stores, and one thing is what I like a lot about Canada is the diversity in food. That is the best thing. And on top of that, my favorite thing to eat is poutine or shawarma.
So when we started the interview earlier, you talked about the many different things that you do. I'm very interested in the part when you talked about journalism. What got you interested in that field?
Well, with me, I love being on screen, and last my blog started about 4 or 5 years ago now, since now, and I always wanted to do something where I'm on the screen. So I actually started my blog and I got my journalism postgraduate afterwards because I felt like, no, if I'm going to do this, I should know how to speak to people, how to write articles, how to do this. So it was a 1 year program that I did. It's a micro credential because if you don't want to do the regular postgraduate or the regular postgraduate certificate, there's a shorter postgraduate program. It's called micro credential. It's a new thing in Canadian colleges and universities. So what got me into it is because I'm not camera shy at all. I'm also a Leo, so for me, I love being on screen. That's literally my thing. Like I don't feel shy. I can go on stage and talk. I can go on different places and talk. I'm totally good with it. So it's something that is my skill because I'm good with audience and I know how to get them engaged. That's what got me into journalism. And my own passion for food, travel, and having my own show, doing my own videos. That's what got me into it.
So let me see if I understood what you said about, is it micro credentials that you're talking
Yes,
about?
micro credential.
I don't know if my students here would have heard of it, so I think it's a very
It's a new
interesting piece of
stream. They
information.
started this in COVID actually, but now it's kind of a regular thing now because not everyone can go and commute all the time to colleges and universities. And some people, because of their situations and because of where they are, they just study from home. So there's like a time. It's like attending an online class, attending a postgraduate, but in a 1 year. It's every course is about 2 months in there, then in about 1 year. So that's how it goes. So that's what a micro credential is.
So I got to know about you and know who you are in the Ms. Regal World pageant. So can you tell us a little bit about your experiences with that pageant system?
Yes, so with Miss Regal World, I participated in there in 2022. It was a good experience because I got to meet a lot of different people from a lot of different parts of the world. There was there was I think USA, Europe, Canada, obviously because that's where I live, and other parts of the world. And it's not all about winning all the time. It's about having the experience. And the registration fee was actually really good, like 20 euro. That's about like I think about $21 Canadian, I think, or 25. That was totally perfect. So it was good. And I really learned about working with different time zones from that pageant is because I remember woke up 5 a.m. for one of the meeting, and one day I woke up 7 a.m. for a meeting, and I learned a little bit about time zones like that. So it was I felt it was like kind of like getting a work experience but in a different way. Like I haven't been able to travel much because of COVID, but at the same time, whatever I could do in my capacity, I do. So it's like having Zoom meetings from working with different time zones. That was a really good experience because now, post COVID, when I work with people from like different time zones, I know what to expect from them at a professional level. And this really impacts my personal and professional level because I know different things about different time zones, different hours, what to expect there. So it was a really good learning. Like you can go into a different country, you can travel and learn about it that way too. When you do it on Zoom, it takes that level to another level. So that's how I found it.
Wonderful. I felt the same way about the pageant system. I competed in 2021, and then in 2022, my cousin competed, but she doesn't speak English. So I participated in some of the Zoom calls to translate for her from Portuguese into English. So I see what you mean there with all of that experience. Now let's talk a little bit about something that is very interesting right now for my students, which is immigration and diversity in different English speaking countries. What is that like in Canada?
Well, immigration, when I was a kid, immigration was very different. Like, it was a dude. I don't know much about it because I was a kid at that time, although I did read a little bit about it in paralegal studies. But immigration system has a merit system to it. So it's almost like there's certain points that you have, there's certain requirements you need. With me, I remember when I got my citizenship and everything, I that was 2003. That's the year my sister was born. So I was about, I guess, about 8, 9 years old at that time. So I was a kid. So once you get it, you can just live here as long as you like. You can travel here as long as you like. But one thing I know is from the people right now is like if you have a permanent resident status or something like that, you cannot travel until after 5 years. That's how it works. And the immigration system has changed a lot in Canada because there weren't that many South Asians or that many Middle Eastern population as there is now. Because due to different global events and stuff, Canada has welcomed so many different immigrants each year that Toronto is actually the most populated city right now with immigrants.
Do you feel like diversity is a big deal in Canada? Do you think it's well received, or what do you think about that?
Yeah, I think it's well received because there is something for everyone. So whether you're a citizen, whether you're new, whether you've been here for like, let's say 20, 30 years, because I've been here for almost like 23, 24 years now, because I came here from like really long time ago. So what I see is that there's a diversity in food, there's diversity in festivals, there's diversity in work, there's diversity in everything, and it's like anything accessible to you, just gotta find it. Like if you can't speak English, you speak in another language, you'll find someone coming or talking to you in that particular language.
What languages do you speak? You talked a little bit about French and English.
Yeah, so I speak English, I speak Urdu, but I only speak with my grandma because for some reason I feel like I can't speak with anyone else. So I speak with her. That's like my dad's side. So I speak with my grandma from my dad's side, and then I speak. I only remember like one line of French, but I could understand like French a little bit. Although like right now, when it comes to languages, I actually want to renew my French skills because I feel like as a competitor, like especially depending on where you are, it's good to know French and English if you're in Canada when you're competing in pageants, because when you do have a title, when you do go further into pageants, when you are a director, it's good to know both languages because you'll have bilingual contestants, and it really helps your resume too if you know French. So those are the three languages that I know.
And that's a fantastic set of skills to have. I think it is, and especially when you're always thinking about improving. We're never completely done learning a language. I feel like I can learn new things every day. So I like your attitude towards that.
Like if I had an opportunity, I would definitely like take French classes again that are online, because I know right now Western University has on-demand French classes. University of New Brunswick, where I did this one online training from about conflict and resolution, they also have French courses available, so that you can also take. So there's like different opportunities of learning French, so you don't have to be in Canada to take it. You could take it as a distance learning, but unless they require you to be in the country and then take it online or in person, I don't know how does that work. But I know for me, because I need to renew my skills, I need to refresh my skills. It's easy for a person like me to refresh my French skills, but it depends on everyone.
Well, we're approaching 15 minutes, but there's one more thing I want to ask you. What is your message for the young people today? They're going into the world, and I want my students to learn English, because it's the lingua franca and it's so important. What would you say to them?
Well, I would say give it a try coming to Canada. You never know. You could be here for vacation or you could be adjusting. You can get any opportunity you want if you try. If you're not willing to try, if you're not willing to learn, you're not willing to grow, you can't get anything. But if you want to grow, then you come here, you stay here, you live here, you work here, everything, and then you see yourself growing. It takes approximately 1 or 2 years to adjust, but after 1 or 2 years of adjustment, you get used to the lifestyle. So it's not too long. It's very easy to adjust.
Thank you very much for this. It's been very educational. Lots of different pieces of information in a short period of time, which is fantastic. So I look forward to stay in touch with you. And
Thank you.
thank you so very much for everything. Feel free to save the chat with our video for
I
whatever
will.
you need.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.